This is the most affordable Motiv Reflex plug and play harness on the market. Want to send a big thank you to the guys over at Spool Performance, AJ and Brian. Thank you for sending this out so I can be the first one to make a video on it. Not only did they send me this, they also hooked me up with a flag, some spool decals, air freshener, as well as a fuel pump bracket that we'll be using in a different video. But this video is about this harness. This has 4 simple connections and that's it. No more tapping wires sketchily. I know a lot of people have issues with not being able to get the right wires on, or these don't quite penetrate to the wire all the way. This is not the best way to do it. This harness, which you can get from Spool Performance, is only $150 right now. As you can see, this connection plugs directly into your Motiv harness that you already have. Completely eliminates the need to tap any wires. It maintains a good looking engine bay while also being functional. When I bought the Motiv, I was a little hesitant to buy any plug and play harnesses, mainly because they were so expensive. I didn't see the point in spending $600. I'm gonna show you guys how simple this is to install. Let's get started by uninstalling the old harness that I had routed, and then we'll get into this one. All of these connections are posi tapped currently. Not necessarily that these are a hard product to use, but a lot of people have issues getting them to connect fully. It is a little bit finicky, and this is just a much simpler solution overall. With all of those undone, have to undo the ground cable now. And then you'll be good to remove your harness out of the engine bay now. I had my 12-volt power going to my PCV heater because the place where Motiv tells you to tap it into on the DME was draining my battery, which is another problem that this harness fixes, is that you no longer have to worry about your battery being drained. This was a wiring nightmare that I had in the car before, and then this is what we're replacing it with. Has a nice loom still. I will have to transfer over one of these plugs that goes to my max solenoid. I'll have that directly powered to the 12-volt switch power from the PCV heater. That's just how I have mine routed, but you can choose to route that wherever you like. But the rest of this is all plug and play. Alrighty, let's clip off all of these zip ties. And let's start by plugging in the Motiv Reflex side. If you're running your Motiv Reflex in this little cubby over here, you will have already pressed out this rubber grommet right here. It's a square grommet. That's where we're gonna be feeding this side into. And you'll have the rest of your wires on the outside. Now this is an impossible connector to mess up. You'll see 2 slots at the bottom right here and only 1 slot on top. It'll match up with this. This is the top. This has 2 on the bottom, 1, 2. It all lines up. And you'll hear it click into place. And after plugging in that connection over there, you're actually a quarter of the way done. The other 2 connectors you have are labeled crank and cam. And then you'll have this larger connector as well. We'll get to that in a second. But for the cam, that is going to be your intake cam sensor, which is located right here. This is your intake cam sensor. You want to take a flathead, pop this white clip up, just twist it like that, pop up, press in, down on the clip, pull right off there. And then you'll take the one labeled cam, you'll plug the factory cam connector into the cam harness, and then you'll take this into the cam harness, and you'll plug it into its respective spot. And then you can take the end of the harness that says crank on it, and you can drop that down here for now. It'll go behind the manifold in the engine bay, and it'll plug in down there. We'll get to that one in a second. For now, let's address this larger connector. It'll be plugging in to this one right here. For this one, there's a tab up here, right there, and one underneath as well. There's actually a hole that you can get your finger in there. You're just gonna press these together and pull out. And it's kind of hard to get with one hand, but got this disconnected. Then you can go ahead and remove this factory plug. We'll plug our spool harness into the factory spot, and then we'll move on to the crank position sensor. The flat side goes at the bottom of the car. So I'll just go ahead and plug it in. And if you route the plug on the spool harness around this side in this channel here, and then wrap this around here, I'm gonna run this side up through here and back around there, but you're still able to maintain the factory ECU cover without it coming up at all. It clips in all three places here, so that's nice. You still get to keep that. Just keeps it low profile. But again, I'm gonna unplug over there and run this wire back through here just to clean it all up. Now as for the last connectors labeled crank, your crank position sensor is down here. You can access it from the bottom. I already have the manifold off, so I'm not gonna be doing that. But this is your bottom tray. It's the same thing. I'm just doing it from the top. You'd be doing it from the bottom. I'll show you exactly which sensor you're looking for. So oil filter housing, just for reference. You are looking for the sensor to the right of this stick thing. You can see the flat circular top of the bolt head, and then the plug connected to that is the one that we're looking for. So bell housing, and then immediately to the left of it, that one with the flat circle bolt. The wire connected to that is the one that we're going after. To be honest with you guys, I'm not gonna be able to film necessarily this process. It's so tight down there. Even if you're going from the bottom, it's kind of a blind process, but it's just part of it. Do yourself a favor, use a pick tool in order to get that white clip off. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Just to make your life a little easier, use a pick tool and pull that up. And then if you see in here, you can pry up on that very, very gently. You can pry up on that and then pull out on the connector. It'll make it a lot easier. It's really, really tight down there. I'm not even gonna be able to film exactly what I'm doing down there, but it's the same process even if you go at it from the bottom. It's just kind of a blind clip. So go ahead and remove this under tray. It's this plastic one right here. It's a bunch of 10 millimeters. There. It extends all the way down, but we'll need this out of the way. So we're underneath the car, drain bolt. Front of the car is that way. Just for reference, let's see if we can see the sensor up here. It is this sensor that we're going for, right there. I'm actually gonna be moving this transmission bracket. There's a E8, right? Focus, there you go. E8 right there. It's connected to the side of the transmission. That's kind of blocking the plug a little bit. Let's see if I move that out of the way, if I can get a better grip on that plug and pull it out. With that off, you should be able to slide it towards the back of the car. I can get my hand on that clip. That's where it screws into right there. Focus. And then you gotta grab that clip right there. All right, now with a little bit of difficulty, that plug will come off. Ouch. So the plug did come out. This is the one labeled crank down here. Where does it say it? Crank. So same process as the other ones. We're gonna connect the original sensor onto this side and then plug this side into the factory plug. Just like that, plugged in. Factory connection right there. I'm gonna zip tie all that out of the way from the top. You can do it from the bottom, but it'd be cleaner if I did it from the top here. So then last but not least, don't forget to ground your harness. It will not work without being grounded. Make sure that's tight and you are all set. Also, I wanted to add on this harness provided by Spool, this red wire. On your guys's, when you order them, it'll have a fuse holder like this. Mine did not have that, so I'm adding it right now just to make sure that the box doesn't get burnt up here. But yeah, so on the final production, it will have this, but since I had an early pre-production model, it didn't have it. So adding it now, just for anyone in the comments curious, but yours will have it. That was a super quick walkthrough on how to install the Spool Performance plug and play harness for the Motiv Reflex. Once again, thank you to AJ and Brian over at Spool Performance for sending that out. If you have any questions about this product, go ahead and hit up Spool Performance on their Instagram, or you can hit up Brian Toon. Be on the lookout next week for the full fuel system install, doing top to bottom coverage on how to build your own split feed fuel system. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.